Can we pull up OPP.IR.701? This is the OPP institutional report. And can we just go to page 36? Just to put this in context, what we're looking at here is the OPP role in the police response to the Ottawa blockade. And do you see that chart there? Just maybe scroll down a little bit. So we have a chart here. It's called OPP Frontline Officers Provided to Ottawa Police Services.
I see it.
Okay, so do you notice that, well, first of all, let me ask you, these numbers seem accurate to you, that they accurately reflect the frontline officers provided to the OPS on the dates listed?
It does, and I think it's important to clarify when they speak about frontline officers, it is strictly just those officers. These numbers don't include public order unit officers. They don't include intelligence officers. They don't include aviation services. There's many other OPP resources that were used in Ottawa that aren't captured in these numbers, just for clarity.
Yeah, understood. And thank you for clarifying that. What I noticed when I look at this chart is that the frontline officers increased significantly on February the 16th and then again on February the 18th. And obviously you would agree with that, it's in the chart.
Yep.
And now if we could go back just to page 35, and you know, perhaps, Superintendent, I don't need to go back to page 35. Would you agree with me that one of the reasons these officers were able to be deployed to Ottawa at that time was because resources were freed up from Windsor?
I suppose there were more resources from Windsor, but the reason for the increase in the numbers would have been to bolster increased traffic points that needed to be bolstered in that period of time in order to support the public order unit plans. So I can't say that the increase that you see on the chart is directly connected to the successful conclusion of Windsor. It was more related to operational issues and plans here in Ottawa.
Okay, can we just scroll down to where it says February 15th? Pardon me. So it says here, Ottawa Police Services, OPP and RCMP planning sections were physically integrated at the RCMP. And then later on in the next paragraph, following the reopening of the Ambassador Bridge, 400 additional OPP members were rapidly deployed from across the province. So some of those went to Ottawa and some went elsewhere, I suppose.
Yeah, that's correct. And it was in this period of time when we talk about most of those 400 additional officers were frontline officers. Mm-hmm. And within the OPP, the frontline officer component in Windsor was not as strong. We had a larger public order unit component in Windsor. So mm-hmm. the 400 additional OPP members, those were frontline members that came from around the province. And that's why we had to defer block training and cancel discretionary leave to be able to get that number of officers to Ottawa.
And I'm almost out of time here, but would you agree with me that the reason for the redeployment of these frontline officers to Windsor was not related to the Emergencies Act, and that it would have happened anyway?
I'm sorry, I have to repeat your question again.
Yes, absolutely. Would you agree with me that the deployment of these frontline officers to Ottawa the increase in numbers on the 16th and on the 18th was not directly related to the invocation of the Emergencies Act? It is something that would have happened in any event.
I would agree with that. It was directly related to what we knew now was an operational plan with public order that needed extra support.
And that was the operational plan of February 13th, 2022, correct?
I never saw the plan, so I'm not certain of what the date was, but it was the plan that the integrated planning team came up with.
Was it called the Integrated Mobilization Operational Plan?
I can't be certain of the title of it. I'm sorry.
Okay, but in any event, that plan was in place prior to the invocation of the Emergencies Act.
I know it was being worked on because The integrated planning team came February 9th. They started their work on the 10th and the 11th. The act was in the effect on the 14th. Because I wasn't on that side and I wasn't part of that team, I can't tell you for sure exactly what day that plan was finalized.
That's fine. I suspect we'll hear that from Chief Superintendent Party today. Thank you very much, sir. Those are my questions.
The Democracy Fund has been officially granted standing in the inquiry, and we want to know the real reason the federal government invoked the Emergencies Act that infringed the fundamental freedoms of Canadians. With your support, our lawyers will be in Ottawa for the next few weeks, trying to hold our government accountable for its improper declaration of an emergency. To follow our work in the inquiry, visit thedemocracyfund.ca/commission, and please consider making a tax-deductible donation to help contribute to our fight. We thank you so much for your support.